What's happening, everybody? Happy Thursday. Happy almost Halloween. Our final October football game for 2025. God, I hate saying that. The season is, as usual, moving so quickly. We take forever to get here, and then in the blink of an eye, it just blasts through the season. But that's okay. We're going to live in the here and now, and we're going to hang out tonight, and we're going to talk shop ahead of Ravens-Dolphins. We'll go through the latest injury updates now that we've got a round of practice reports that we can get to. Can start taking a look at start-sit questions for the weekend. But, of course, it's not complete quite yet. We will get a full slate of reports and updates tomorrow for Friday, which will be the final call for a lot of Sunday situations. So there may be some outstanding, questions that don't get fully answered until tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. And then, of course, subsequently, I will have my start-sit streams this weekend, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, taking your questions once we have all available information to us. Before I do injuries, I'll just give some quick thoughts on tonight's game. This one's pretty cut and dry in a lot of situations. A flex, consideration in a spot here or there, but generally speaking, it's pretty much like studs and duds in this game. Lamar Jackson makes his return to the Ravens lineup tonight, sitting at 2-5, I believe. The Ravens are actually still the favorites to win the AFC North. I don't know if that is a vote of confidence for Baltimore or an indictment on the rest of the division, maybe a little bit of both. But Lamar gives them the boost, the shot in the arm that they have needed since the Ravens got off to their dreadful start, their 1-5 start before bouncing back and beating the Bears in Week 7. Now they go on the road to play a Dolphins team that they are much better than, but on the road on a short week, anything can happen. And the Dolphins looked good last week with puffy-eyed Tua, leading the charge as Miami picked apart, the Michael Penix-less Falcons. So the Dolphins for at least 1 week looked good. Now they get to, defend home field against a Ravens team that is looking to get their season on track and headed in the direction that they expected all along. The Ravens have been Super Bowl contenders every year with Lamar Jackson. They intend to get back into that conversation tonight. From a fantasy perspective, again, pretty cut and dry. You are putting Lamar Jackson back into your lineup if you have him. Welcome back, Lamar. He's a top 5 quarterback on the slate, just like he is every single week that he starts. Derrick Henry, not coming out of your lineup. Devon Achane, not coming out of your lineup. Jalen Waddle, not coming out of your lineup. I think he's a top 15 wide receiver on the season. He had a bad week in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago that left a sour taste in a lot of folks' mouths. That was a bad game, bad weather game. Unfortunate situation and elements that Waddle was dealing with. He bounced back nicely in the Dome in Atlanta last week. And then, he gets to play home games in Miami, one including tonight. Nothing concerning there. I guess, is Miami, in any way, shape, or form affected by the hurricane that's going on in the Caribbean? It doesn't look like it. Just a quick look at Miami's weather. 0% chance of rain, winds 10 miles per hour. Looks like it's a nice night in Miami. So the hurricane that is hitting the Caribbean right now, it looks like there's no issues for Miami. So good news for players in tonight's game. Maybe Waddle in particular. You are firing him up. I do think Zay Flowers belongs in your lineup as well, especially in leagues that start 3 wide receivers. If you're in a league that starts 2 wide receivers, maybe Flowers is on your bench. But, everybody gets a boost across the board for the Ravens with Lamar back in the fold. So Flowers is in pretty good start-worthy territory, especially in leagues that start 3 wide receivers. Mark Andrews is a viable play at tight end. It's a great matchup against Miami. They're giving up a lot of production to opposing tight ends. Isaiah Likely obviously remains a thorn in Mark Andrews' side. At this point, you could maybe say it the other way around. Mark Andrews is a thorn in Isaiah Likely's side. They will and often do cannibalize each other. It's anybody's guess if there's only one of them who performs, which one it will be. So, Mark Andrews can be fired up in deeper leagues. Isaiah Likely can be looked at. If you need a guy, you could do worse. But, obviously those two are less appealing as opposed to if there was just one guy getting all of the opportunities. So start Lamar, start Derrick Henry, start Devon Achane, start Jalen Waddle, start Zay Flowers, especially in leagues that run 3 wide receivers. He may not make it into lineups that only start 2. And then Andrews and Likely are both viable plays at tight end. Likely maybe more in deeper leagues, but it is a great matchup if you are looking for tight end help. Okay, those are my overall thoughts. And then, you're not playing Tua. We're not playing any of the ancillary Dolphins wide receivers after Waddle. You're not playing whoever's playing at tight end for Miami. It's not Darren Waller. He's on injured reserve. Malik Washington, Ollie Gordon. We can't play these guys. Rashad Bateman is a dart throw in deep leagues or, DFS matchups that are being played for tonight. And that's it. To the injuries, or at least the latest injury reports that we have as of today. Nico Collins and Christian Kirk both practiced today. Nico, of course, being the significantly more fantasy-relevant receiver. He is expected to clear concussion protocol if all goes well, and he did practice fully today, so sounds like Nico is trending toward a return for Houston. Joe Flacco was seen participating in practice on Thursday, so he probably got a Veterans Day off yesterday, dealing with a right shoulder injury that he suffered toward the end of the game against the Jets. So if all goes well, Flacco will continue to start for the Cincinnati Bengals. People who have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are begging for it. And honestly, Chase Brown as well. Rome Odunze limited in practice today after missing practice yesterday, but he then confirmed that he will play this week, so Rome is good to go. Cole Kmet limited in practice for the second straight day Thursday, so he's trending toward a return. The one to monitor here for Chicago is DeAndre Swift. He is not practicing for the second straight day with a groin injury. DeAndre Swift has been on the injury report a lot the past few weeks, and he has worked through those injuries, and he has played and delivered in some big-time matchups. But, the missed practice time is a little unfortunate and concerning on a week-to-week basis. This is a spectacular matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Monangai would be in line for more work if Swift can't go and would probably be on the RB1, RB2 borderline just because of the matchup if Swift can't play outright. So if you have Monangai, keep him on ice, keep him ready, keep yourself locked in on DeAndre Swift updates. Monangai could be viable this week, and if he is still out there and available on waivers, you may want to consider finding room for him on your bench, especially if you have DeAndre Swift. We could be looking at more opportunities for Monangai in a beautiful matchup against Cincinnati if Swift is limited, if not outright. Bryce Young thought he was going to miss multiple weeks. He suffered a high ankle sprain in week 7. Turns out he's probably only going to miss 1 week. He is practicing in full for the Carolina Panthers. So after a dismal performance by Andy Dalton, the Panthers are probably actually excited to get Bryce Young back. Might as well keep developing and working with the young quarterback. Bryce Young looking like he's gonna return after just a 1-week absence. Josh Downs had a hip injury. He missed practice Wednesday, but he fully practiced on Thursday. So Downs looking good to return to the lineup for deeper leagues, leagues that run multiple flex spots, or just deeper leagues in general, 12, 14-team leagues. Josh Downs fully practicing on Thursday. Drake London and Michael Penix both practicing in limited fashion for the Falcons on Thursday, both trending toward making their return to the lineup after a 1-game absence for both. Atlanta sorely needs both. Kirk Cousins looks like he might be shot in the sense that he's old and can't move and doesn't look like he has it anymore. And then London, of course, any team could use their team's wide receiver 1. So that would be good news for Atlanta if he comes back. Pat Fryermuth fully practicing on Thursday. Okay. Ramondre Stevenson not practicing for the second straight day on Thursday with a toe injury. That's noteworthy. That is interesting. That is one to keep an eye on. Here's the problem. I don't know how much confidence I can give to Travion Henderson as far as a boost if Ramondre is out. I would assume that Travion Henderson is in line for RB1 opportunities if Ramondre can't go. But the team seems hesitant to utilize him to like his full capacity. Maybe this is what they are waiting for. If they don't have Ramondre, it kind of comes down to they need to play Travion Henderson. One to monitor, one to keep in mind. And for the record, Henderson should not be on waivers anywhere. He should be rostered in all leagues. I had somebody ask me, I think it was last week or maybe earlier this week, about Travion Henderson on waivers, and I said pick him up immediately. I know he hasn't done much. I know he seems to be down the depth chart, seems to not be in the coach's favor. We got to bet on the talent. We got to bet on the draft capital. Travion Henderson should be rostered. And if Ramondre can't go, then all the more reason. One guy who probably doesn't need to be rostered anymore at this point, Calvin Ridley, not practicing for the second straight day on Thursday, trending toward missing a third straight game. Wasn't really fantasy relevant, healthy. His season is quickly turning into a forgettable one. Obviously, there's still time to turn things around, and Cam Ward has been a little bit better the past few weeks compared to the first month of the season. But nevertheless, Ridley not looking likely to play again for the third straight week. He's probably already dropped in shallow leagues. You can drop him. We're getting to the point where you can drop him in deeper leagues as well. Sticking with the Titans, Chigakonkwo not practicing Thursday. So Ayamanor, DK, the ancillary young wide receivers that they have should get a boost, but only so much faith we can put in a bad offense like Tennessee. Hassan Haskins not practicing for the second straight day Thursday, so it's looking like he will miss another game. It'll be another game of RB1 Kamani Vidal. Vidal can be fired up in most formats. I believe that the Chargers play the Titans, who I just got done talking about this week, I'm pretty sure. Spectacular matchup against Tennessee, especially if they don't have Jeffrey Simmons again for Vidal. Isaiah Pacheco, to no surprise, not practicing so far this week. It's going to be Kareem Hunt. It's going to be Brashard Smith for Kansas City this week, and maybe for multiple weeks. An MCL sprain could be anywhere from a 2 to 4 week absence for Pacheco, so it's anybody's guess how long he will miss. One thing seems certain, he's not going to play this week against Buffalo. Kareem Hunt can be fired up as an RB2. Marvin Mims is in concussion protocol and not practicing. Do not expect him to play this week. Woody Marks limited in practice on Thursday, so he's tracking toward playing. Kyler Murray limited in practice on Thursday. This is Arizona's first practice day of the week because they play the Monday night game against Dallas. So a limited session in Thursday is a good sign for a player who missed to be making their return. Kyler is a QB2. He's not a QB1. We've been labeling him a QB1 for years now because of the rushing upside. But the Cardinals are a bad team. Kyler looks like anything but a long-term answer at quarterback. Even when he does play, even in 10-team leagues. And in a great matchup. I guess in a great matchup, if you absolutely need a guy, if you have Jalen Hurts on bye, who else is on bye this week? If you have Baker, who's on bye, the other week 9 buys, Cleveland, so not Dylan Gabriel. And the Jets. So, maybe Justin Fields, but probably not. If you have Jalen Hurts or you have Baker Mayfield, I guess you could go with Kyler in shallower leagues if he happens to be available, but honestly, any other option, I would probably just play that option. Kyler inspires no confidence at this point, and I feel like he's closer than anybody is talking about to, I don't know. I know Kyler's getting paid a ton of money, but this feels like we're a lot closer to the end of Kyler as a regular, consistent, week-to-week starter for an NFL team than not. the most meh option at quarterback there is. Let's see. Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, both fully practicing on Thursday, so they both look like they're making their return to the Raiders lineup. The most fantasy significant one by far, of course, being Bowers, but we'll see what Myers can do. He's probably a guy that I'm leaving out of my lineup for at least a week. Bowers, you're putting him in your lineup. Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter both limited in practice today for Jacksonville. Brian Thomas has a shoulder injury. Travis Hunter has a knee injury. The fact that they are both practicing on a limited basis puts them on track to play. Brock Purdy limited in practice again on Thursday with a toe injury. We'll see what happens with Brock Purdy. Ricky Pearsall not practicing yet again. Not really sure why San Francisco didn't put Ricky Pearsall on IR. He is now, I think, going to miss like his fourth straight game. Kyle Shanahan continues to be completely unreliable when it comes to injury information. And there's no reason for anybody, for any of us, to believe any injury reports that come out of San Francisco. Because this dates back to the issues with Christian McCaffrey last year. Puka fully practiced on Thursday, so he is going to make his return after a one-game absence. And those are all of the injury updates that I have for Thursday. We'll, of course, keep an eye on things. But for now, we can move to questions. I see Evan. I see E111. I see Sport Dog. Good to see you all. Special shout-out to my members. I will call out members by name. That is a perk of being a member of the channel, as is getting your questions answered out of order. If you do sign up as a member, first link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel, you will get priority responses, faster responses to questions and comments. If you are not a member but you send a super, if you are feeling generous enough to send a super, that would also be a line jumper and a way to get your question answered faster and in priority order. If you are not a member and you do not send a super, I will answer your question, but I will also, it will have to wait until the end. So I do ask for some patience as I work through members and supers first. Whether or not you are a member, if you are enjoying the conversation, the stream in general, if you could just like the stream, that helps me out for algorithm purposes. Let's get into it. I'm picking 3 for Evan between Bam, Rico, Henderson, Chuba, and Charbonnet. So the first thing I'm going to say, Evan, is we need to revisit this weekend. Because we need to, if Ramondre Stevenson is ruled out, that's going to impact my answer here. Because I want to tell you to start Travion Henderson as long as Ramondre is out, but we don't know definitively that he's out just yet. If he gets in a limited practice on Friday, then even with the missed practice time this week, that would put him on track to play, talking about Ramondre. So, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what his status looks like for tomorrow. Bam is probably a good candidate. Although I will say Amari DeMercado also, I think I missed his name. Amari DeMercado did return to practice in a limited fashion today. So, do they ease DeMercado back into the lineup or do they throw him right back out there? Does he cut right into Bam's opportunities right away? We should probably wait on that one and maybe try to get a feel. Charbonnet's in a good spot against Washington. Rico's in a bad spot against Green Bay, but the vibe does sound like he's going to be the starter moving forward. So there's optimism about him despite the bad matchup. That being said, I'm not playing Chuba. If the coach speak is to be believed from Dave Canales, we may be getting less of Chuba and more of Rico. And what we were getting an even split and not feeling satisfied from Chuba. So for him to be getting even fewer opportunities in all likelihood makes him a bench stash right now and nothing more. My initial thoughts here are Bam against Dallas, Rico against Green Bay, and Charbonnet against Washington. But we don't know if DeMercado is going to come back for Arizona as it pertains to Bam Knight, and we don't know if Ramondre Stevenson is going to miss this game as it pertains to Travion Henderson. Evan, if you can come back this weekend after we get practice reports, I think we can make a more definitive call on this one. But if I had to make a call today, I would say Bam, Dowdle, and Charbonnet. And then as far as tight ends, Mark Andrews, Theo Johnson, Jawan Johnson. So Andrews goes tonight. Theo gets a pretty favorable matchup against, a pretty banged up, beaten up San Francisco defense, and should be seeing, in theory, more opportunities now that Scatabo is down for the count. And then Jawan, I'm going to go ahead and say no to Jawan right away, just because first career start for Tyler Shuck on the road against a good defense, against a good team in general. I don't really trust Jawan Johnson given the situation. I will tell you that your safe play would be Theo Johnson, and your boom-bust play is Mark Andrews. And Andrews has boom potential because Lamar is back. He has bust potential if Isaiah Likely happens to get more of the opportunities. So that's more of the moonshot. Andrews is the aggressive play. Theo is a little bit safer, but his ceiling is not as high. His floor is probably higher, but his ceiling is lower than Andrews. Andrews high ceiling, low floor. Theo boring floor. Depends on what you need. Let's see what else I got. Sport Dog has a question. Yeah, you can run with Lamar over Drake May. It's shallow leagues. Like you're gonna have a good performance on your bench every week with those two quarterbacks. They're both awesome. Unless somebody needs a quarterback in your league, I would try to move one of those two. I would leave Pitts in, I think, over Andrews, because Pitts has the job to himself in Atlanta. Andrews splits tight end opportunities with Isaiah Likely. I don't even think Pitts is on the injury report anymore at this point. Let me double check that. I thought I saw he was good to go. Give me a second. Okay, he's questionable, but he's limited. He's fine. He's practicing in a limited fashion. Pitts is back-to-back days. He's okay. I would play Pitts over Andrews. Pitts has the job to himself. Andrews splits opportunities with Likely. And then moving down to Sport Dog, and then I will jump back up to the top of the chat. If you can come back on Saturday or Sunday, I would say let's wait on this, because if there's any questions about Ramondre Stevenson or Travion Henderson, my answer is going to be the same. It's incomplete right now. It looks like Ramondre's going to miss. But Henderson, if Ramondre does miss, Henderson hasn't exactly, gotten the opportunity. I think he's taken advantage of the chances that he has gotten, but he's not getting many opportunities. So, is he automatically going to move into a bell cow role without Ramondre Stevenson? This coaching staff for the Patriots has me second-guessing that. I think we need more information. We need more vibes on how we think the offense is going to go. And then, of course, we need the status of Ramondre before we make any definitive calls. If Stevenson can't go from this group in full PPR, I might say Shakir, just because he's at home and that's a massive game against the Chiefs. That's a primetime game against the Chiefs. And in full PPR, he obviously gets a boost. That's probably where I would go. I would probably say Shakir if Ramondre is out. But we can make a more definitive call this weekend when we know whether or not Stevenson's going to play this week. Okay. Let me move back up to the top of the chat. One wide receiver in full PPR: Worthy, Butte, or Franklin. Worthy's lost a lot of opportunities to Rice since he came back. Butte is boom bust, right? He could catch a bomb for a score, and this is not as bad of a matchup as last week. And he came through last week, so that's pretty good. Franklin has a brutal matchup against Houston. But he had a good game last week, and he's going to see increased opportunities, assuming Marvin Mims is out with the concussion. Marvin Mims is not going to play this week. At least that's what it looks like. So Franklin will get a few more opportunities in theory. It is a tough matchup against Houston. But he's probably the wide receiver 2. He's probably option 2 in the pecking order for Denver, behind Sutton. Worthy is maybe the 3rd option. Worthy's ceiling is higher, I think. I'll say Worthy is your ceiling play, but his floor is low. He can make a big play, but he also is probably going to get out-targeted by Rice and Kelsey. So if you need a big play, I would say Worthy. If you want a floor play, a safer play, that's probably Franklin. He may not hit a huge play against a good defense like Houston, but he could come through with volume, especially with Marvin Mims out. Butte is also a boom bust, but I'll give the nod to Worthy over Butte for a week, for another week. Depends on what you need. Full PPR. Johnston, Tet, or Kareem Hunt. It's a good matchup by the numbers for the Chiefs' run game. The Chiefs' run game is not great. It's mostly Patrick Mahomes and then a smattering of like the other guys sprinkled in. But Kareem Hunt, we can never predict a 2-touchdown game, but Kareem Hunt does have a history of, he does get it. He finds his way into the end zone. He's going to get an expanded opportunity without Pacheco. It's a huge matchup against Buffalo. Like, this is a sort of a playoff game for both of these teams, just because when they match up, the stakes are higher. And Hunt is going to get more opportunities in theory without Pacheco. I think the answer here is Hunt, and the matchup is good. Buffalo gives up a lot of opportunities, a lot of production to opposing running backs. So that favors Kareem Hunt as well. I would go Hunt here. I'm not giving up on Johnston just because of the route participation that he still gets from LA, but he did goose egg last week, so let's maybe put him on ice for a week. And then Tet's good. His situation isn't great. So I'll take the player in the best offense with an expanded role, at least on paper, headed his way in Kareem Hunt. I'll take Kareem. So Dak or Lamar or May or Lamar. The Cowboys get Arizona on Monday night. That's right. I mean, I think it has to be Lamar Jackson. I mean, and Drake May is awesome. Drake May is having a great season. He just looks like he's a great quarterback in general. He's got the makings, at least that's what it looks like. I don't know if I want to call a second-year player great just yet. That might be a little premature. But May looks great. That being said, we're talking about a healthy Lamar Jackson. I think and in this matchup against Miami, I think you have to play him. I'm not worried about the Thursday night in this instance because Lamar hasn't played for several weeks, so it's not necessarily a short week for Lamar. Because now he's 100% healthy after missing a couple weeks, or as close as he can be anyway. We're in the middle of football season after all. Nobody's 100% healthy. It has to be Lamar in both instances. It has to be Lamar. I mean, we drafted him to be stud, bona fide QB1, set and forget. You happen to also get Drake May. That's awesome. He's also having a great year. I would look to move one of these two guys for running back or wide receiver help. And honestly, I would especially be doing so in the league where I have Lamar and Dak. I would be dangling Dak, maybe go to the person who has CD even to try to get, a running back or a wide receiver to fill out my running back or wide receiver depth. Lamar's the guy. We got to play him. You drafted him to be your stud. He is a stud. He's historically a stud. He historically puts up huge numbers week over week. We got to go Lamar. We got to go Lamar. Both instances. Rams or Packers defense. I love the Rams this week. I've been saying it since last week. I wanted you to hold the Rams through their bye if you could. They've got good matchups coming up on their schedule for it. Not the fantasy playoffs, but for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Their schedule is mostly favorable looking, and it starts with Tyler Shuck coming out of the Rams bye week. They have a good pass rush. They support a good offense on the other side. They're going to regularly be playing with leads, which means they can play more aggressive. That's the type of defense you want, a defense playing with a lead. They can tee off, pressure the quarterback, increase the chances for sacks, increases the chance for turnovers. Now, that's not to say the Packers aren't a good option either. They are. And a great matchup at home against Carolina. Like, they will do well. They should be fine. I'll take the team coming off of their bye week, getting a rookie quarterback in his first career start. Give me the Rams. The Rams and the LA teams are probably the best two teams on the slate this week. The difference for me between the Chargers and the Rams are at home. The Rams get to play in LA. The Chargers do have to travel. And again, rookie quarterback making his first career start. I'll take the Rams. I might take the Rams over everybody this week. And the Packers have a great defense. I would take the Rams over the Packers. Flex. So Krosky Merritt could be in here. He's tough to trust right now. Aaron Jones, Troy Franklin, or Woody Marks. Probably Franklin. The Vikings offense is tough to trust right now. McCarthy's coming back. That's a good thing for their long-term prospects. I don't know if it's a good thing for him to play his third career game on the road against the Detroit Lions, having been on ice for the past 6 weeks. So I don't really trust the Vikings offense right now. Woody should be fine. But it is a brutal matchup against the Denver Broncos, and he's on the injury report. I'll take the wide receiver. I'll take Franklin. Like, he's on the other side of this game. He doesn't have an easy matchup either against Houston. But I'll take Franklin with potential for more opportunities because Marvin Mims won't play. I'll take Franklin. And then Wandale, Trey, or Monungai. So if it's full PPR, Wandale, scoring helps, by the way. If you can share your scoring, that's for everybody. Like that, if you're between a wide receiver or a running back, that may help ultimately make my decision. If it's full PPR, maybe Wandale. But again, we got to keep an eye on DeAndre Swift. If he doesn't practice tomorrow and all of a sudden Monangai is looking at a starter's opportunity against the Cincinnati Bengals, then the answer is going to be Monangai. And honestly, maybe you just go with him anyway because Cincinnati is giving up a ton of points to the running back position. In each game this year, the starter and the backup are both performing well. Just last week, you could have played Breece Hall. You could have played Isaiah Davis. He probably would have. I think he gave you an RB2 week last week. That's just last week, and that's just the Jets who have a bad offense. Running backs are feasting against Cincinnati right now. So you may want to go Monangai anyway. But let's keep an eye on things with DeAndre Swift and whether he's going to be available for this game or not before we make any definitive calls. I don't want to play Trey Tucker. Yes, he has had some incredible weeks this year, but the Raiders' offense is tough to trust. Yes, they're coming out of their bye. Maybe they'll be better. Maybe they found some things, some adjustments, some tweaks. Maybe. But Brock Bowers is also back. Jacoby Myers is back, so that could be fewer opportunities for Tucker. There's too many question marks there for me to go to Trey. Maybe like Wandale in full PPR if Swift plays and just Monangai if Swift is out. Would I drop Mason for Henderson? Probably. I don't want to drop Mason, but if that's the last guy on your bench, then yes, probably, especially with Ramondre missing practice right now. Henderson should be on rosters everywhere. Henderson should not be on waivers, and I know he hasn't done a whole heck of a lot yet, but they drafted him in the second round. I know that Ramondre doesn't even have 9 lives. Ramondre has 99 lives with the amount of fumbles that he is accumulating and the amount of times the Patriots keep putting him back out there. But I have to believe that at some point, like all other scenarios in the history of football, that eventually a coaching staff will get tired of a running back fumbling the ball over and over again. I got to imagine that this will happen. And I know Henderson himself fumbled last week, so he did himself no favors. But if Ramondre is out, it's like, what are the Patriots going to do? How many more times ways are they going to figure out keeping Henderson off the field? You have to play your second-round rookie running back who has looked good with the opportunities that has given to him more often than not. Are you really? And Antonio Gibson is on injured reserve. If Stevenson is out, Henderson has to be the dude. You're gonna let your third string, fourth string running back Jennings be the guy over Henderson. Like, to what end? What point would you be proving at that point? Like, yes, Henderson needs to be on a roster. I don't want to drop Mason, but if that's the last guy on your bench, sure. Whoever the last guy on your bench is, I would rather have Travion Henderson than that guy, unless you're in like a 4-team league. Yeah, Henderson should be on rosters. Maybe this will be the week for him. Ertz or Barner? I mean, Barner's been pretty solid. 3 tight end weeks. And then he had another week where he was like the tight end 15. 3 for 70, which is, you'll take that every day from a tight end. It's a good matchup against Washington. Seattle is coming out of their bye week. So it's a pretty good spot for Barner. I tend to lean Ertz, though. He also has 3, actually he has 4 tight end 1 performances to Barner's 3. And his floor has been a little bit higher. And he gets Jaden Daniels back. I think I slightly lean Ertz. He's just, he's a little bit more proven at this point. Barner has had a nice stretch of games here. But, Ertz is just this, a little bit more savvy at home. I feel like he's a good chance to catch a touchdown at home with Jaden Daniels back. He may not do much else, but he's probably got a decent shot at a score with his starting quarterback back at home. I'll say Ertz. It just comes down to track record at that point, and Ertz has the track record. Barner hasn't quite been consistent enough yet for me to say, yeah, Barner. And then Nix or Kyler against Dallas. Okay. I mean, I guess this is where I would go Kyler. And it has nothing to do with Bo Nix being, Bo Nix is a good quarterback. But he is in a brutal spot against Houston. Houston's defense is pretty good. Really good, actually. So that's a tough spot. Kyler gets the Cowboys, who have been awful this year on defense. So I guess I would go Kyler here for 1 week. If Nix was playing anybody else, if he wasn't playing Houston, I would probably tell you to play Nix. But Houston is a stout enough, strong enough defense at all phases, at all levels, to the point where I would say, okay, yeah, for 1 week I'll take Kyler Murray over Bo Nix. But next week, I don't even know who's playing who. I don't care. I would go right back to Bo. For just 1 week, you can go Kyler. The Cowboys defense is one to target. Yeah. And then would I drop Brian Robinson? Yes, for Henderson immediately. Immediately. Like, run, don't walk. Brian Robinson is a Christian McCaffrey handcuff and nothing more. Travion Henderson might get the start, finally. Like, yes, hands down. Not even just run, don't walk. Run, don't walk. Like, you drop Brian Robinson immediately for Travion Henderson. Yes, 100%. Henderson should be on a roster, especially given the fact that Ramondre Stevenson has missed back-to-back practices. Henderson needs to be on rosters. 100%. Get him by any means necessary. If he's available, make him unavailable. Scoop him up. Scoop him up. Sorry, I got Sport Dog's question. Yeah, so again, with Henderson, I mean, I'm probably not playing him over mainstays, but we have to see. I mean, he's at home against Atlanta. There's nothing scary about that. Chase Brown gets the Bears. That's a good matchup. Dobbins gets Houston. That's a tougher matchup. Maybe over Dobbins. But we have to see. We can make a definitive call on that when we know whether or not Ramondre's going to miss. If Ramondre's going to miss, then possibly. Possibly. Yeah. But we have to wait and see. but probably not Chase Brown. I would still fire up Chase Brown against the Bears. You were offered Daniels and Flowers for Baker and Rice. No, not at all. Rice is a top 5 wide receiver rest of the way. Flowers is a top 20 wide receiver. I'm not doing a quarterback swap to give up a top 5 wide receiver for a top 20 wide receiver. I'm just not doing it. Especially if you were the one who drafted Rashee Rice. If you drafted Rashee Rice, we drafted him with a purpose. It was, I know I'm not going to have him for 6 weeks, so I need to scratch and claw, but now I have him, and he was worth holding because I know how good he is. And now, I don't think there's not 5 receivers I'd rather have than Rashee Rice. It's like Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, JSN and Amon-Ra? Is there anybody I'm missing? It's not Jefferson. I'd rather have Rice. Yeah, I mean, Puka. Sorry. Okay, Puka. Puka, Chase, CeeDee, Amon-Ra, like Rice and JSN. That's the top 6. I'll say that's the 6. And it's like those 6 are they're in their own tier. They're in their own tier. And I'm not trading them unless I get, one of them in exchange. And at that point, it's like, why would I do that? Or a stud running back. Bijan, McCaffrey, Taylor, Saquon. Like, that's who I'll give Rice up for. Nobody else. I'm keeping Rashee Rice. And I would tell, if people are asking you about Rashee Rice, you can tell them it's going to take a stud RB1 or a stud wide receiver 1 plus, because I already have a stud wide receiver 1, so I'll just keep that guy. Like, you're going to need to shell out. And Daniels is not a difference maker for me when you already have Baker. Yeah. Nope. Keep Rice. Start one between Vidal and Rico. Probably Vidal. He gets the Titans. They're awful against the run. Rico, we got the vote of confidence that we were waiting for yesterday from Dave Canales, that he is going to get more opportunities moving forward, probably at Chuba's expense, which makes sense. But he has to play the Packers this week on the road. That's a brutal matchup. That's a tough spot. Vidal is in a great spot, and Hassan Haskins is still not practicing. Like, yes, Rico should be the 1A, but Chuba's still there, and he's going to get involved, maybe to the tune of a 30 to 35% snap share, and then Rico maybe gets like the 65% range. That's the hope anyway. Vidal should get close to 100, or as much as he can handle, especially if Haskins can't go, which is what it sounds like will be the case. And, again, beautiful matchup against Tennessee. I'm playing Vidal. Really quickly, let me jump down to Sport Dog, and then I will get to the other questions. Would I use the Chargers defense the rest of the season? I don't know their schedule that well. I would certainly play them this week against Tennessee. And Puka's status just changed to healthy. I know that because I have him on Sleeper. And I'm quite excited about that. The Chargers the rest of the way. So they have Tennessee this week. Pittsburgh week 10 at home. So that could be fine. Jacksonville week 11 could be fine. Week 12 bye. Week 13 Vegas should be fine. Week 14 against Philly, I don't really want to do that. And then Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans. I mean, no, I wouldn't give them my rest of season stamp of approval. One, they have a bye week coming up in a few weeks. They've got some intriguing matchups for the next 3 weeks. This one obviously is really good against the Titans. And then Steelers and Jacksonville, those are fine. Those are fine, but the Jacksonville game is a road game. And then they've got some tougher matchups out of their bye week. Vegas, maybe not so much, but Philly, Kansas City, Dallas, and now we're talking about the fantasy playoffs. So I'm not as interested in that point. They are just play them this weekend. We'll reassess next week. There's usually good defensive streams every week, better than what you currently have beyond the week that you intend to use that defense. Let's just worry about this week, and then we'll go from there as it pertains to the Chargers. Addison, Vidal, Rico. Yeah, same answer, even though it's full PPR. I mean, Addison is off to a strong start since his season got started in week 4. But it's JJ McCarthy back in the mix, in an incredibly small sample size. McCarthy struggled a little bit at the earlier part of the season. Obviously, nothing has changed as far as the long-term outlook, the long-term prospects, but we could be going through some rookie struggles right now. I know McCarthy's not a rookie, but it's his rookie season, he had a torn ACL. It's essentially his rookie season from a playing time perspective. We're talking about his 3rd career game against the Detroit Lions on the road. Don't love that spot. Vidal, beautiful matchup against Tennessee. I'm starting Vidal probably as an RB1 this week. Like, I don't know that there's 11 running backs or 12 running backs I'd rather have than Vidal this week. In this matchup against Tennessee, I think he's an RB1, a low-end RB1. I would play Vidal for sure. See if we get any new injury updates. The hour is getting late. Are we getting some... No new injury updates. Jalen Wright is inactive for Thursday. That affects nobody. Ollie Gordon has taken his job as RB2. What's going on? Traded Ramondre for Rico. There you go. Well, first of all, nicely done on that. I like that. I know Ramondre has been their guy. But he might not play this week, and I am still holding firm that we're going to see Travion Henderson before it's all said and done as we move into the second half of the season. Remember, this is for, generally speaking, rookies tend to improve. They tend to get better over the course of their rookie season. Their arrow points up as the season progresses. So I feel good. I feel good about a guy like Travion and his prospects for the rest of the way. So I like that trade for you to get off of Ramondre. Would I play Rico over Keenan or Shakir? No. I would play Shakir, especially if it's full PPR. In this big matchup against Kansas City, this is like a playoff game for both teams. I think both teams are... Somebody pointed this out on Twitter or on one of the cable networks. Both teams are second in the division. Like, the Bills are actually chasing the Patriots, and the Chiefs are chasing, I think, the Chargers right now. Is that right? Doesn't sound right, but or they're chasing the Broncos. Sorry, actually, they're also chasing the Chargers technically, because the Chargers beat the Chiefs week 1. So yeah, the Chiefs are staying in a race for the division, and honestly, for the first time in several years, so is Buffalo. And then on top of each other and the rivalry they have with each other. So I like chasing guys in those situations. Give me Shakir, especially if it's full PPR. Give me Shakir over Rico and over Keenan. Even half PPR, I think I would take Shakir over Rico, just because Rico's playing the Packers this week, and that's a brutal matchup. All right, need one running back and one flex. Walker, Woody, QJ, Butte, Hunt. Yeah, so we're pretty sure Pacheco's not going to play. Stevenson is trending toward missing. So if that's the case, then I would play those two running backs. I would play Hunt in a beautiful matchup against Buffalo. And I would probably play Henderson if Stevenson is out. If Stevenson plays, maybe we go to Kenneth Walker instead. But we can afford to wait on that because Walker doesn't play until Monday night. Henderson and Hunt both play on Sunday, so plenty of time to figure that out. I would say, yeah, we'll plan to play Hunt, plan to play Henderson. I don't think Pacheco's playing this week. And now, so I think Hunt is going to stay in your lineup. And then if Stevenson misses, I would play Henderson. If Stevenson ends up playing, then probably go to Walker. If London misses. So I don't think we need to worry about that just yet because it sounds like London's going to make his return. Limited for a second straight practice. That puts him on track to play. That puts him on track to play. I think you're good. London should be okay. Because I don't want to play Coleman or Tucker. Not given the fact that Coleman hasn't done anything since week 1. Tucker feels like he's even a higher dart throw than normal just because of the return of Bowers and Myers. Getting inactives rolling in for Thursday night football. I saw Jalen Wright. Not fantasy relevant. Yeah, okay. No significant updates on the injury report for Ravens-Dolphins. Jair Alexander is a healthy scratch. There you go. That's quite a fall off. Oh well. Let's see. You have Allen, you have Kelsey, you have Rice. Shakir, Hunt, or Keenan Allen. I mean, I'm not afraid to play good players on the same offense, which all of these guys are. Hunt or Shakir is a dart throw, honestly. It's a flip of a coin is what I meant to say. Not Keenan Allen. He's fallen off a little bit the past couple of weeks. And I'm not as bullish about a guy like Keenan Allen this week just because, again, the Chargers are playing the Titans. That could be a situation where they get a big lead early and then they're just running the ball in the second half. And if ancillary guys or secondary weapons don't get their opportunities, then those opportunities probably aren't going to show up in the second half of a game where we expect LA to handle their business. So not Keenan. He feels like the most volatile. I would say if it's half PPR or standard scoring, I would play Hunt, and if it's full PPR, I would play Shakir. And in fact, because you have Josh Allen, I might just play Shakir anyway so that you have the stack. But I do like Kareem Hunt for this week too. Like, give me players in big games, even if they're all on the same team. I don't care about that. I want good players on good offenses, and if I have a good offense, if I have a good offense and I have all the players on that offense, then I'll play all the dudes on that offense. Besides, every time these two teams link up, they average between like 50 to 60 total points scored between the two of them. Like we should see some fireworks in Buffalo this weekend. E111, what's going on? Standard scoring, Dynasty League. You have Bowers, you have Fannin, you have Likely. Oh, lots of tight ends. I assume because these guys were available that you don't really have a trade partner who would maybe take one of these guys on for you. I mean, if it's Dynasty, then the guy to drop, if you want to, you might as well swing for upside because you have Bowers and now Fannin, so you have like young talent, and Likely, really. You have young talent. So I would try to trade like Barner because he has flashed some upside. He looks pretty good, but he's still on the whole unproven. Like Ertz, at least, assuming you're competing this year. I assume you're competing this year. If you're competing this year, I feel a little bit better about maybe like a veteran presence to kind of help hold down the fort, behind my young star power like Bowers. So I might want to keep Ertz. Like, you don't need to take a flyer on Barner because you already have one of the premier tight end prospects for Dynasty in Bowers, like one of the top 3 premier assets at the tight end position in Bowers. And then Fannin and Likely is great depth. You don't need like a flyer on like a Barner. I would see if there's competing. I would see if there's a tight end needy team in your league. Maybe ideally somebody who isn't competing. If there's one of the bottom 2 or 3 teams in the league who are rebuilding, who might be interested in a 23-year-old tight end, because I think that's how old Barner is. I would dangle Barner in a trade. Try to get a 3rd-round pick. Or just try to get some draft capital. For Barner, and then hold Ertz as like a veteran, hold it down type of guy on a competing team who you could turn to in an emergency situation. I would try to dangle Barner for draft capital. That's what I would try to do. Because you don't need him. You don't need him. You don't need another young guy. You have young guys. You have Bowers. You have Fannin. You have Likely. You're set. I would try to trade Barner. Like if I were a rebuilding team and somebody offered me Barner, yes, I would be interested in that. So that's where I would go. That's where I would go. Yeah. If you can. And then if you can't find a trade partner, then I guess I would also drop Barner. But I would try to trade him first. Because he should have some value. Should have some value. What's going on, Fortune? Good to see you. You have the premier options at tight end in Warren and Bowers. I mean, their rest of season value. Bowers is going to be the one probably with less value than Warren right now because he hasn't been playing. Like, if you're in a win-at-all-cost scenario, then all right, you're rolling the dice a little bit, but bear with me here. You should be able to, I would think, get a more premier piece today, right now, or this week anyway. You are more likely to get a premier piece for Warren, right? Because Bowers just hasn't been playing. Obviously, we drafted Bowers high. We drafted Bowers tight end 1 this year, right? Bowers was drafted tight end 1 this year. So he still has some value just based on that, and now the fact that he's back. But he's been basically hurt since week 1, right? He was the tight end 2 on the week in week 1, and then he suffered the knee injury, and he battled through it for 3 weeks, and he was still a decent tight end, but he wasn't great. He wasn't, top 3 tight end each week because he was hampered by the knee injury, and then he missed 3 weeks, right? Or 3 or 4 games, whatever it was. So his value is down. Meanwhile, in that same time, Tyler Warren has exploded as to what looks like he's now in the top 3 conversation. It's Bowers, McBride, Warren, and Kraft, and Kittle. We'll throw Kittle in there. That's your top 5, right? Warren is now in that conversation. The difference between Warren and Bowers is Warren has done something recently. And what's the old mantra, right? How many times have we heard when it comes to player A versus player B, or just player A's past performances to player A's most recent performances? What's the old mantra in sports? We all know it, right? What have you done for me lately? And lately, more recently, it's been Warren. So what I'm telling you is, I would think, and you can dangle both guys into the same person in your league and see what type of offer they're willing to give you. But I would think Warren is going to be the piece that nets you something better right now because he has done more. He has been healthy. The Colts offense is unreal. So that's the other thing. Of course, that's the double-edged sword here. You could be getting rid of the better tight end over the course of the season in Tyler Warren. But you can slide Bowers back in there, roll the dice on the upside that he is a top 5 guy, and get you can ask for whatever you need, a premier wide receiver, a premier running back. I would think your chances of getting that are higher if you sell Warren. I would think. But, I mean, feel free to test the waters. Feel free to check on both. But if you're in immediate need, I mean, I would think the guy you can get a better offer for is Warren. And then as far as Keenan Allen, yeah, I mean, what I don't know what you necessarily have. Yeah, I don't know what you have, but, as far as your, what you need versus what you have, but just keep in mind, Keenan Allen only is kind of only playing in 3 receiver sets for the Chargers at this point. Vidal for Allen? If you need a win right now, then Vidal. If you're looking at the long picture, then I guess Keenan Allen, because Hampton should come back. But Vidal. I mean, Vidal is going to have the backfield to himself this week against the Tennessee Titans. I would want to play Vidal. So if you can turn Keenan Allen into Kamani Vidal and you need wins now, then yes, I would do that. If it's you're giving up Vidal and acquiring Keenan Allen and you're 2-6, then no. Then no, because you need Vidal this week. Vidal is a greater chance, I would think, of helping you win this week in a beautiful matchup against the Titans, where Hampton is still not back and Hassan Haskins is not practicing. So Vidal's going to be the dude once again for at least one more week. And then if, Chase is wide receiver 1, so you're good there. If you only start 2 wide receivers, I would do it. If you start 3 wide receivers, then that's a little bit of a tougher sell. I don't know who your 3rd wide receiver would have to be in this case, but if you only start 2 wide receivers, it sounds to me like you have 2 wide receivers. And if Vidal, improves your flex spot or your running backs outright, again, for this week, because you need to just stay alive, you're 1 week at a time right now, then I would do it. I would acquire Vidal. I would do it. Obviously, with the caveat that Vidal's not going to be viable long term, but again, you can't think long term if you're 2-6. You just got to get to next week. You're focused on week 9. We're not worried about week 12. We're worried about week 9. We're worried about getting a win week 9. I think Vidal is a much better chance of helping you win in week 9 than Keenan Allen. The Titans' defense stinks against the run, and they don't have Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah. I would trade for Vidal. I would use him this week, and then, who knows? You could try to trade Vidal next week for a viable player, and a prime candidate would be the person who has Amari and Hampton. But we'll worry about that next week. Again, if you need a win this week and Keenan Allen for Kamani Vidal with you acquiring Vidal is on the table, I would do that trade. I would do that deal. I think I had another question up here about Trey Tucker. Yeah, do you keep Tucker as a stash? I'm not keeping a stash wide receiver, but I would keep a stash running back. Like if Monangai is out there still, I would go scoop him for Trey Tucker. I don't want to stash Trey Tucker The Raiders' offense stinks. I know Tucker has been like the lone bright spot for the Vegas offense so far, with splashes of Genty, of course, mixing in. But I would always prefer a stash running back to a stash wide receiver. I'll give me the stash running back. Give me the stash running back. Trade Chase for Tet Egbuka and 2 first-round picks in Dynasty. I'm trying to picture, like, what I would do if I were in this scenario. I feel like I would say no, because you're a contender. Honestly, even if I was rebuilding, Chase is only 25 years old, and he's the best receiver in football. It's an excellent value. It is an excellent value, but then of course you do need to make good on those 2 first-round picks eventually, right? You do need to. The time will come where you need to make those selections and you need to get those picks right. And there will be increased pressure on you to get those picks right because you are giving up maybe the best non-quarterback dynasty asset that there is. Like, if you take the quarterbacks out of the equation, who is more valuable in dynasty than Jamar Chase for the next, let's say, 4 years? I wouldn't put, like, Bijan over him. I wouldn't put Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb over him. Or JSN or Amon-Ra. These are all great, or Devon Achane. These are all great young players. I'm not putting them over Chase. Like, Chase is top dog. And you're a contender. You're probably a contender. I don't know the rest of your team. I'm sure it's a good team if you're contending, but a big reason you're contending is because you have Jamar Chase. I just, like, yes, the value is good. I just don't want to do this. I just don't want to do it. This is Jamar Chase we're talking about. Like, sure, a 4-for-1 in Dynasty with 2 firsts being a part of the package is always super enticing. But I'm competing. I'm competing for a championship. I want to win a championship. Jamar Chase helps me win a championship. I'm keeping the best receiver in football and the best non-quarterback dynasty asset there is. I'll trade you. I'll give up Jamar Chase if I'm getting Josh Allen in Superflex. Like, that's the scenario where I would trade Jamar Chase. Yeah, I just don't want to. I just don't want to do that. And that's what it comes down to for me. Start Flacco or Tua. I'll go back to Flacco. He returned to practice in a limited fashion today. Good matchup against the Bears. He gets to throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and then occasionally Chase Brown. Tua is down to Waddle, Achane, and it's just not as good of a situation overall. Neither offensive line is very good, but, Tua shook the bad vibes. Miami shook the bad vibes for 1 week by beating Atlanta. That's all well and good. I'll take Flacco throwing the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins versus Tua having to play on a short week on Thursday night with Lamar Jackson coming back. I expect the Ravens to maintain possession better on a case-by-case basis with Lamar. Like, there's fewer opportunities for the opposing team, the opposing offense. Again, short week Thursday night. I know Baltimore doesn't have a great defense, but that doesn't automatically make me default to trusting Tua. I'll take Flacco on a full week, full week, normal week for the Bengals. Nothing scary about the matchup against Chicago. The Bears do not have a great defense. And again, Flacco gets yes, Tua has Waddle and Achane, and that's great. But Flacco has one of the best receiver tandems in the league in Chase and Higgins. I'll take Flacco. I'll take Flacco. Okay. I think we're at the end of the chat. So if anybody else needs anything, just let me know. If there's anything you want to rehash, just let me know. Again, multiple injuries to sort through before we ultimately make some definitive calls. Ramondre Stevenson being a big one. We're not expecting Isaiah Pacheco to play, so I would comfortably plan to fire up Kareem Hunt this week. Those are the big ones. Bowers is making his return. Puka's making his return. Lamar is making his return tonight. You're obviously firing him up. I think that's it for major injuries. Darnold was a full participant in practice for the Seahawks today, while Cooper Kupp was limited. Kupp not fantasy relevant. Darnold is in Superflex leagues. Jaden Daniels fully practiced again on Thursday. He will return for Washington this week. And Lamar Jackson just said he feels 100% with no limitations. Welcome back, QB1. And, man, I feel like I haven't had a Thursday stream for a little while, so I get to do my PSA again. Just keep in mind, if you have Thursday night football players going, make sure you put them in their position spots. If it's a running back, put that running back in a running back spot. Take them out of the flex, put them in a running back spot. If it's a receiver, take them out of the flex, put them in a receiver spot. Save your flex for Sunday and or Monday. I always put, if I have Monday Night Football players going, at least, if I have one player going to Monday Night Football, that Monday Night Football player is in my flex, unless it's my tight end. Maximize flexibility, pun intended. Keep your lineup as optimal as it possibly can be to prepare for injuries. Always love a good Thursday night football spiel. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you, man. Scatabo owner offered you Gibbs, Odunze, and Daniel Jones. Holy hell. Okay. Timeout. This one's a doozy. Gibbs, Odunze, and Daniel Jones for Smith and Jigba, Tracy, and Henderson. I guess, how badly do you need Daniel Jones? I'll start there. Is this, I assume this has got to be super flex. It's super flex, right? If it's one quarterback, then obviously I'm a little less excited about it. And you'd be giving up a decent, you'd be giving up decent running back depth, but you'd be turning Tracy and Henderson into Gibbs. That's excellent. Yeah, is this a Superflex team? Is this a Superflex league? That's the first thing I want to know. It's one quarterback. Okay. So quarterbacks just don't have as much value in these situations. But you'd be getting Gibbs and Adunze, which is awesome. I mean, obviously you want Gibbs. Everybody wants a player of Gibbs' caliber. You're probably going to have to give up JSN to do it, unless you gave up CD, which I assume you don't want to do because you have the stack. Oh God. I will rank these guys as follows for Dynasty. Gibbs is 1, then JSN, then Adunze, I think. Yeah. I will, in one quarterback, I will say Gibbs, JSN is 2, Adunze is 3, Henderson is 4. I'll say Daniel Jones is 5. Just because he looks like he's now going to be a starting quarterback for a while. He looks like he's going to be the Colts starting quarterback. He's probably going to get, a 4-year extension from Indianapolis. And then Tracy is 6. And then you already have, at wide receiver, you have CD, you have Adams, who is, probably only a year or two away from falling off. But he is playing well now, and you're competing for a championship now. You have Flowers, decent wide receiver depth. You would have Lamb, Adams, Adunze, Flowers. And then you would have Taylor and Gibbs as your starting running backs. Oh, it's not Dynasty? Oh. Why did I think it was Dynasty? Oh, it's a redraft. Okay. That's okay. I was all right. Interesting. I guess because you the scat. Oh, so then for me, it's like I guess did the person. I guess I thought scat owner. That means they're holding Scataboo even though he's injured. Therefore, Dynasty. Okay, my mistake. Okay. So. Okay. In that case. Got it. Other team was Dynasty. So you would have Gibbs and Taylor, and then your receivers would be Lamb, Adams, Adunze, and Flowers. I would do it. You're giving up a top 5 you're giving up a top 10 asset in JSN, and then a couple of dart throws. Like Tracy, it's all a boost in value. Henderson is, I believe in him. I don't know what his rest of season outlook is. I want to be optimistic, but I don't need to want to be optimistic about Gibbs. I already know he's a baller. You're trading a top 10 asset for a top 5 asset, and then Tracy and Henderson are like outside the top 40 for a top 20 asset in Adunze. Yeah, I would do this trade. To acquire Gibbs and Adunze, I would do this deal. because I would still rank them the same way. I would rank Gibbs 1, JSN 2, Odunze 3. You're getting the best and the third best options of a 6-team trade. You're getting 2 of the best 3 pieces. I say do it. I say do it. I know giving up JSN hurts, but you're still getting Odunze and getting a massive, massive running back upgrade going from Tracy and Henderson to Jahmyr Gibbs. I would do it. I would do this deal. I would do this deal. I would do this trade. Yeah. I would do the trade. I know you don't want to give up JSN, but you're getting elite pieces. You're getting elite pieces. Yeah, I would do the deal. Sorry, I thought we were talking Dynasty because we were like Scatabo owner. So like I immediately assume like, oh, he's holding on to him because he's keeping him long term because Dynasty or at least a keeper league. So my mistake on that. But happy to help. Go get Gibbs. Go get Odunze. Let's go win the damn league. Let's go win the league. Mark Andrews or Dalton Kincaid? Probably Kincaid. I know that Kincaid didn't do anything last week, but that's because he didn't need to. The Bills jumped all over the Carolina Panthers. Nobody really did. I know Shakir caught a touchdown, but that was mostly because he made a massive play by himself. Like, the Bills didn't throw the ball on Sunday because they didn't have to. James Cook ran for 1,000 yards like alone against the Carolina Panthers, and they beat them 40-7. It was never a game. The game against the Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, that's going to be a game. I would expect significantly more passing volume for Josh Allen and the Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs. Andrews could be fine tonight, especially with Lamar coming back, but he is volatile because Isaiah Likely splits opportunities with him. So it's anybody's guess which of the two will deliver tonight. It could be Andrews. He could catch a touchdown tonight, but it could all go to Likely. Kincaid is the guy at tight end for the Bills, full stop. And, we're talking about a primetime game between Buffalo and Kansas City. Not much more that needs to be said. This is a rivalry at this point, between these two, between Mahomes and Allen. Big game, massive playoff implications for both of them. Chasing teams in the division, both teams are. Like, give me the big-time players in the big-time games. I'll take Kincaid. I'll take Kincaid over Andrews. Yeah. All right. Does anybody need anything else before kickoff? Mike's got something for me. What is Bowers' value? You have McBride and Kittle. Would you trade one of McBride or Kittle to get Bowers? And then can you play both of them? And is this Dynasty? I want to make sure I don't want to assume it's Dynasty because I just assumed it was Dynasty with E111 and I should have been talking redraft. I don't really want to give up Dart in Superflex. Vidal is great now, but it doesn't have a ton of long-term appeal. because of Hampton. Dynasty, 3 flex spots. Would you, okay. I mean, that's just a lot of, look, Bowers is awesome, but that feels like a lot of eggs to put in one basket, like a lot of tight ends to be relying on. And I know that these are like 3 of the 5 best tight ends in the league. And Bowers is certainly he's worth that price. I just don't know if it makes sense for you because you already have McBride and Kittle. McBride is in the Bowers territory, like young, elite, lots of upside, and awesome now. Kittle is awesome now. He's older. His clock is ticking. It's going to run out sooner than, obviously, McBride or Bowers. But he's still an elite tight end 1. And with all of the issues that San Francisco has at wide receiver right now, he's going to retain that high-level usage for at least the next few weeks. And I know we're talking dynasty, so we want to keep the long view in focus. But if you have pieces like this, I assume you're competing for a championship. George Kittle's going to help you do that this year. McBride is going to help you do that this year. Obviously, in theory, Bowers is going to help you do that this year as well. But he's also in a horrendous situation with Geno Smith right now and the Raiders' offense in general. Travis Hunter, big-time prospect. You probably just spent a top 3 or 4 dynasty pick on him this year. Dart was a first-round pick in Superflex, if not an early second-round pick. And if you redrafted today, he would be the QB1 off the board. He'd be going ahead of Cam Ward if we redrafted dynasty rookie drafts today. You know, Dart would be the first quarterback off the board ahead of Cam Ward. And then again, Vidal is a compete for right now, like tread water, get a couple of wins here and there because I have all of a sudden I have this RB1 that's on my bench just through circumstances because Hampton is hurt and Najee Harris is hurt. In theory it's not bad, but I don't think I would make this move because you already have 2 of the premier tight ends at in the league. McBride being in the Bowers camp of being young and elite. I don't think I would do that. And then again, that's just, like I said, that's a lot of eggs in the basket of one position. A volatile one at that, at tight end. I think I would keep the pieces that you have. Yeah. Because the other thing, on the other side of this, Mike, is Travis Hunter is looking better and better. And I know we had to wait a week to see him because they were just on their bye week. But I think his most recent 2 or 3 games, he's got the highest snap share on offense that he's seen thus far through his rookie campaign. I think he was at 80% of the snaps on offense this past game. That was a new career high. And he got involved heavily, and the vibes with Brian Thomas right now are not good. I talked to somebody about this. I think, was it Fortune? It might have been Fortune earlier this week. Like, the arrow is pointing up on Travis Hunter, and it feels like, I can't believe I'm saying this, it kind of feels like it's pointing down for Brian Thomas. You know, he's been inconsistent, he's been on the injury report, and he's dropping the football. Like, the vibes with Brian Thomas are not great. So I want to rock with Travis Hunter. And then again, Jackson Dart, if we redrafted the 2025 rookie class, maybe not the NFL, but certainly rookie drafts right now today for fantasy, for dynasty, Dart would be QB1. Dart would go QB1 ahead of Cam Ward. So I would definitely want to hang on to Dart in Superflex. His value is quite high. So yeah, I think I would stay put. Okay. Okay, we are at the end of the chat, so just a reminder for everybody. Start sit live streams this weekend. Saturday 5 p.m. Eastern, Sunday 11 a.m. Eastern. Could try to start that a little bit earlier on Sunday morning. We'll see. I could maybe kick that up a notch. We'll see. But certainly 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So yeah. Make sure to come on back if you have outstanding questions. I know I left a couple of questions up in the air this time around. That was on purpose. We don't know the status of some of the running backs for this week and some other guys in general. But if you're between guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, Kareem Hunt, etc., I do encourage you to come back this weekend to get those start-sit questions finalized. But if there's nothing else, I guess I can go ahead and shut this down now. Obviously, we've got Ravens-Dolphins coming up here shortly. Again, for tonight, you're playing Lamar, you're playing Achane, you're playing Derrick Henry, you're playing Jalen Waddle, you're probably playing Zay Flowers if you start 3 wide receivers. Maybe not if you start 2, but if you start 3, I would think Flowers is in there. Mark Andrews is a boom-bust option at tight end, as is Isaiah Likely. It's anybody's guess who will perform between those two. They could cannibalize each other, so they are volatile. But they are options, given the situation, the good matchup, and Lamar being back. And that's about it. I wouldn't start Tua, wouldn't start any other ancillary players in this game. Okay, but with that, I think we're all good. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. A special shout out to all of the members that I saw. I saw Evan. I saw E111. I saw Sport Dog. I saw Fortune. And I saw Mike. So appreciate all you guys coming in and hanging out today, and everybody coming in and hanging out today, taking the time. Trade got done. You got Gibbs. I like it. I like it a lot. Chase Brown or Tet? Probably Chase Brown. That's a tough spot for the Carolina Panthers on the road against the Green Bay Packers. I do think Tet could come through with some volume, but I do think the Packers defense is going to make things tough for Bryce Young. And Bryce Young is historically not great on the road. He has not been great on the road, and now he's got to go against one of the better defenses in the NFL. Probably at less than 100% because he suffered an ankle sprain a couple of weeks ago. So, I don't love that for Tet's prospects. I'll say Chase Brown. Flacco looks like he's going to play. He practiced in a limited fashion today. There's not anything scary about the Bears defense. They are not anywhere close to as good as the Packers defense, so I think Chase Brown will be fine. That's where I would probably go. I'll go Chase Brown, who has been a lot better with Flacco under center compared to the beginning of this season. Chase Brown. I'll go Chase Brown. I like Tet. I just don't like the Panthers on the road right now because Bryce Young has been. You can go look at his home road splits. They're not good. Except for like one game. Like one game, Bryce Young had a decent game on the road. Otherwise, it's all struggles. Got a couple more questions in here. You were offered Bijan and Ferguson. Wait, Bijan, Ferguson, and Diggs for Gibbs, Hunter Henry, and Sutton. Robinson and Gibbs are like they're negligible. It's like two. They're like one and the same. Like one is 3, one is 4. Or one is 4, one is 5. That's a negligible difference for me. I don't think I want Ferguson more than Hunter Henry now that CeeDee is back. It's CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jake Ferguson. Did Ferguson get... What happened this past week to him? He got blanked against Denver. Oh, that was this past week. He had a great game against Washington, but so did everybody on the Cowboys. But now that CeeDee is back, I'm like not as excited about Ferguson. And Sutton is a tier higher than Stephon Diggs right now. So I don't know that I want to necessarily... Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily want to do this. I'll tell you what. I would tell you to dangle a Cortland Sutton. This is my counter. Keep Gibbs, keep Hunter Henry. If you feel like your wide receiver depth is okay, I would dangle Cortland Sutton. And try to, like, get a running back for the stretch run, for the playoff run. And, like, the first thought that is, like, a Jaylen Warren, who has, like, a really good playoff schedule coming up. The Steelers have a lot of favorable matchups for running backs. Something like that, where you can get a little bit more running back help, just, like, boost your running back depth. I would entertain something like that. But I don't want to go from Hunter Henry to Ferguson with CeeDee back for the Cowboys. And I don't want to go from Sutton to Diggs. That feels like a downgrade. And then Gibbs for Bijan is negligible. It's like one is the top ranked. You know, they flip flop positions every week between the top 5. So that's a negligible difference for me. I would keep the pieces that you have. I wouldn't make that trade. And then if like all else equal, if DeAndre Swift, that's another name I didn't bring up as far as like keep monitoring injuries. Yeah, if DeAndre Swift is out, I will play Monungai against the Cincinnati Bengals 100%. Yeah, the Bengals are giving up ridiculous production to opposing running backs. They're letting backup running backs kill them. So if Swift is out, yes. If Swift is out, yes, I will play Monangai for sure. Yeah, and the only news we have on Pacheco is that he is not practicing right now. He will not play. We don't know how many games he's going to miss right now. It could be 2, it could be 4, it could be 1. We don't know. MCL sprains are it's like a 2 to 4 week timeline is typically what's given for MCL sprains. So if he's a fast healer, maybe he only misses a game or 2. If it takes a little bit longer, then it may need 3 or 4 weeks. We don't know just yet. He's not going to play this week. Kareem Hunt is in the RB2 category for this week. All right. I think we're good. Again, I will see you guys on Saturday for Start Sit Help at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, you can always hit me in the form of, you can hit me with a question in the form of a comment on this stream or any video or stream on the channel. You can also join my Discord, second link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. That is a free evergreen invite. You can hang out there, ask questions there, especially if I'm not live, which, that might happen during an early game, like during an international game, or just, whenever there's downtime during the week. But yeah, if there is nothing else, we can go ahead and. Oh, there is something. Waddle or Pittman? I mean, probably Waddle. I mean, both are good options. But I'll take the wide receiver 1, who is a top 15 wide receiver on the season so far in Waddle. He should get peppered with opportunities tonight against a bad Ravens defense on the road. I would play Waddle. And I know Thursday Night Football sucks. If you don't like Thursday Night Football, that's fine. I understand. But Waddle, take the bad week. The week, was it 6 game against Cleveland? Or week 7? Take that aside. On the road, bad weather, bad conditions, and Miami got blown out. Take that out, and Waddle is like a low-end wide receiver 1 on the season so far. I would play Waddle. I would play Waddle for sure. Yeah, if running back, I don't want Debo. I love A.J. Brown, but lots of drama right now. Like, I would say just stay put. We got a few minutes until kickoff. Thoughts on Flowers tonight? If you only start 2 wide receivers, then those are the 2 wide receivers that you're playing. Smith-Njigba and Amon-Ra. You have Tucker Kraft. I mean, Kraft has been such a stud. I just don't like playing. I would be curious to know who your starting tight end is. I don't like playing 2 tight ends. That's a rule. Not a rule, but like that's just a mindset that I typically approach my lineups with. If you have another stud tight end, if you have McBride or Bowers or Warren, and you have Kraft, I would look to trade one of those 2. If you can't get Zay Flowers into your lineup tonight, that's fine. Yeah, McBride, I would trade one of those 2 because you should be able to get something good and then you can move that. You get a good running back or a good wide receiver for a stud tight end. You should be able to anyway. You can rock with one of them for the rest of the season, so that's your tight end set and forget. You don't have to think about it. And then that frees your flex up for more wide receiver or running back versatility. So my answer to your question is actually try to make a trade. Try to trade one of those two tight ends. Maybe sell McBride just because Kyler is coming back and Kyler is not as good as Jordan Love. So you could try to sell high on McBride. Get a premium piece if you do it. Don't sell for nothing, obviously. And don't get lowballed either. Like get a good running back or get a good wide receiver. It's too late to do it tonight before this matchup. So if you don't want to pull Zay Flowers out of your lineup because you already have the two tight ends in there, then fine. But I would be aggressive trying to move one of those two tight ends. Find a tight end needy team in your league and go see what they have. And if you're weak at running back depth or if you're weak at wide receiver depth, then they have something that can help fill that gap, fill that hole for you, and you can give them a tight end that they can use like that is a significant upgrade over whatever they have now. I would be aggressive to try to make that happen. I just don't like having two. If I have two like really good tight ends and their stock is up, I want to sell one for a good running back or a good wide receiver. That's what I want to do. I know that doesn't totally answer your question. I guess you can leave Flowers out of your lineup if you want to play both of your tight ends. If that's not what you currently have, that's fine. Because you're not taking Smith and Jigbo or Amon-Ra out of your lineup, obviously. And yes, Flacco is playing. Keep T. Higgins in your lineup. Don't play Malik Washington. Yeah, I would not play Washington. We're playing T. Higgins. We're playing T. Higgins. Is Pollard droppable? I mean, for who? He could be, but it's just like for who? I won't drop him for just anybody, but yeah, like if Monungai is still out there, if there's a decent running back stash that you got your eye on, like sure, fine. Sure. Oh, for bench space to take. Yeah, well, yes. Then if Pollard is the last dude on your bench and you need to activate Puka, then yeah, drop Pollard. Like if you're the rest of your bench is like, I'd rather have that guy than Pollard. I'd rather have that guy than Pollard. I'd rather have that guy than Pollard. If you're looking at Pollard and you're like, this guy sucks. He's the last dude on my bench. I don't want him. And you obviously need to get Puka into your lineup. Then yes. Yes, you can drop him. You can comfortably drop him. Yep. Okay, so this is my final thought, and then we can shut this down because I know we have a football game to watch. Yeah, okay, fine. If you're getting lowballed, then hold. But I would try to get creative. Like, whatever means necessary to get a good running back or a wide receiver on your roster. If you're getting lowballed, obviously don't give in because you have something. You have something that at least one or two teams in your league need, and that's a good option at tight end. There's at least two teams in your league, or at least one anyway, that doesn't have a consistent good option at tight end. If they're not willing to pay up, then let them continue to roll out dart throws each week. But I would try to be aggressive if you can. If you can. Okay, it is nearly kickoff, nearly game time. But before I go, can make sure I take care of questions. I think it starts off at like 8:15 is when it starts. Myers, Dobbs. I just don't trust Jacoby Myers right now. He hasn't been playing. When he's played this year, it's been very lackluster. He's coming back healthy, which is good. It's a good matchup against Jacksonville, but I would wait a week. Dobbs gets better quarterback play. At home, I think I would rather play Dobbs. We haven't seen anything from Jacoby Myers for so long, and his situation stinks. And then between Dobbins, Charbonnet, Bam, Knight, Dobbins gets Houston. That's a tough matchup. Charbonnet is a decent option, but not a starter, so not him. And then DeMercado is practicing, so I don't know if he's going to cut into Bam's opportunities. So we got to keep an eye on that one. I would say Bam Knight if and they play on Monday night, so we're not gonna know. We're not gonna know until Monday night if DeMercado is active. I might just play Dobbins and hope for the best. Yeah. Yep. At least he's the starter. Mark Andrews tonight or Colston Loveland? Andrews, I guess. Because Loveland has the same issue. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Good to see you. Loveland has the same issue that Andrews has with Cole Kmet returning to practice. And I guess I'll take the guy catching the ball from Lamar over the guy catching the ball from Caleb Williams. Andrews, it's close. It's razor thin, but I'll take Andrews. I'll take Andrews. He may lose opportunities to Likely, but I'll take, Lamar is back, so I'll take that over, Loveland didn't do much with a full-time opportunity last week. Kmet is back, and Caleb, it's not great right now. I'll play Andrews. Yep. All right. Yeah, I was live, Crumply Heads, but we will be shutting down here shortly because we got a game to watch, but I can give it a couple of minutes if you need anything. JMO or Myers? Oh boy. JMO. I know JMO has not really done much of anything this year. But at least he's in a good situation, a better situation than the one Myers is in. Myers is coming back healthy. It's a good matchup. Good matchup against Jacksonville. JMO gets the Vikings. Like, Myers has a good matchup. I just don't trust Geno Smith. JMO has a solid matchup, but he's not doing anything. But I do trust Jared Goff at home. I'll say JMO, Crumply Heads. I'll say JMO. But I don't have a strong conviction in that. Just, you're hoping he just, all it takes is one play with JMO. Myers is a boring floor play, but his downside is noteworthy because of how bad the Raiders have been. Tua, Caleb, or Lawrence? Caleb gets Cincinnati. Caleb gets Cincinnati. Lawrence gets Vegas. Tua going tonight against Baltimore. Caleb. The matchup is great. I'll take Caleb. I'll take Caleb against Cincinnati. The matchup is good. And Trey Hendrickson may not play. Trey Hendrickson may not play, so that would be a boost for the Bears. You're going to the game, Crumbly Heads? Is that in Vegas? Or is that in Philly? Oh, that is in Philly. Oh, hell yeah. I saw the Eagles play the Raiders in Vegas a few years ago. I think it was Jalen Hurts' first year as a starter. The Eagles lost. It was gross. It wasn't good. But then things turned around after that. For the Eagles, not the Raiders. I think it's Theo Johnson, right? Jawan Johnson or Evan Ingram. I'll say Theo. Here. He's, look, the Giants are running out of bodies. Malik Neighbors is obviously gone for the year. Now Cam Scatabo is gone for the year. I bring Cam Scatabo up because he was catching the ball at a good rate, and it's pretty common to see running backs and tight ends kind of share a similar target share because they're running short and intermediate routes. It's a good matchup against San Francisco. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. Jawan is going to be catching the ball from a rookie making his first career start on the road, and Evan Ingram has just done nothing this year, and he's got a bad matchup too against Houston. I'll play Theo here. I'll roll the dice on Theo. At home, good matchup. Should be a good amount of opportunities available in that Giants offense. That was Ruggs' last. Oh, you were there. Oh, we might have crossed paths and we wouldn't have even known it. Yeah, that was Ruggs' last game. It was their first game without John Gruden as well as their head coach. That was that whole scandal with whoever the old president was of the NFLPA. I'm blanking on his name now. Where Gruden's emails or something like that, they got leaked and it was bad. It was super offensive. Yeah, that was the Raiders' first game without Gruden and their last game with Henry Ruggs. Yeah, what a time. What a time. But yeah, the Raiders won that game. That might have been Derek Carr's last year with the team too. It was a whole thing. All right. We are only a couple of minutes from kickoff, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. But I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out this evening. I will be back on Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Start, sit, help. Be there. Come hang. I will see you then. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll see you guys this weekend. Thanks, everybody.